we start with the introduction part of the air pollution. Okay, basically we know that the air is essential for the life itself, right? Without it, we could not survive only a few minutes, right? Okay, basically air pollution is not just a aesthetic problem, it also causes a health problem, right? So thousands of the deals have been directly related to the poor air quality in the cities. So the many of the mega cities of the developing world have extremely poor air quality, right? So the cause of this or air pollution are often fires, then large number of poorly maintained motor vehicles, then and poorly regulated industrial plants, right? Okay, so now we discuss with the concept of the air pollution, then what is pollution, what is the air pollution, right? So basically the pollution is a change in the background concentration, right? So the any substance introduced into the environment that adversely affect the usefulness of a resources, right? So the pollution happen because no process is 100% efficient. Each process produces a pollution, okay? So the air pollution, it may be defined as any atmospheric condition in which certain substances are present in such concentration that they are produce undesirable effect on man and his environment, right? So this substance include the gases, right? So which type of gases? So this is the sulfur dioxide, then nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide, then hydrocarbons and etc. Then particulate matter, it means smoke, dust, fume, mist, aerosol, and then radioactive materials and any other types of material, right? So this is called air pollution, right? Okay, now the next topic, which is the sources of the air pollution. Okay, basically the sources are classified into the two types. The first is natural and the second one, which is the man-made sources. Okay, so what do you mean by natural sources and what do you mean by man-made sources, and which type of activity which which cover in the natural sources and which type of activity which included in the man-made sources, right? So basically the natural sources, it means the pollen grain, then volcanic eruption, then forest fire, then salt spray from the oceans, then dust storm, then marshy land, bacteria and other microorganisms, and the photochemical reaction. Okay, so these all are the sources of the air pollution. Now the man-made sources, which is the various industrial units, right? Then thermal power plants, then automobile exhaust, then fossil fuel burnings, then agricultural activities, mining, aircraft, nuclear explosion, domestic burning of the woods, right? So these all are the man-made sources for causing air pollution, right? Now the other man-made sources, it is again classified in the major type, which is the point or stationary source, then line and mobile source, and the third one, which is the area source. Okay, so the meaning or the definition of the point, then line and the area source, which is the first of all point or stationary source. Okay, so what is point source or a stationary source? So the industrial unit which add a pollutant to air at a particular point from their tall chimney, right? Because of the industrial unit, in the industrial unit, the chimney is a fixed point, right? Fixed point for the pollution. So this is called a point source or a stationary source. They are not movable, right? So this is called a point source. Now the second one, which is the line or mobile source. Okay, so what do you mean by mobile source? This source are air pollution are the automobile, as this add a pollutant along a narrow belt and over a long distance, because they are a mobile source, they are a movable source, right? So that they cause a pollution in nearby areas. Okay, and the last one, which is the area source. It means that one area is a source of the air pollution, right? So the town and cities add a smoke and gases over a wide area. This is called the area source, right? Okay. Now the next topic, which is the classification of air pollution. Basically, the air pollutants are classified in two categories. The first is based on origin, and the second one, which is based on state of matter, right? So the based on origin, it is again classified in two types. The first one, which is the primary air pollutant, and the second one, which is the secondary air pollutant, right? And the based on state of matter, which is again classified in a two type. The first one, which is the gaseous air pollutant, and the second one, which is the particulate air pollutant, right? So here you can see that the example of air pollutant are given. So this is for example oxides of the sulfur, then nitrogen, sulfur dioxide, hydrocarbon, ash, smoke. These all are the example of the primary air pollutants. Then ozone, then SO3, PA and PAN, and aldehydes, ketones, they all are the example of the secondary air pollutant. And the gaseous, which is SOx, NOx, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, right? These are the gaseous air pollutant. And the particulate air pollutant, it means dust, fog, ash, smoke, aerosol, and etc. Right? Okay, now we will discuss in detail the various classification of the air pollutant. Right? Okay, so basically the first one, which is the based on origin, there are two types, the primary and the secondary. Okay, so what do you mean by primary pollutant and how it is defined, right? So these are the emitted directly from the sources and are found in the atmosphere, right? For example, they are directly emitted in the particular industry and they are goes to the atmosphere. So they are a primary pollutant, right? For example, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, then hydrocarbon, air, smoke, dust, and etc. And the secondary pollutant, it means that they are formed in the atmosphere by the chemical interaction between the primary pollutant and the atmospheric constituent. It means that secondary pollutant, it means that where a primary pollutant goes to the atmosphere, and the atmosphere, there are chemical reaction between the primary pollutant and the atmospheric constituent, and they make a secondary pollutant. It is called a secondary pollutant. For example, ozone, right? Oxygen, which is combined with the ozone, it is, and then they make a ozone, O3, right? Then sulfur dioxide, which is again combined with the oxygen atoms, and they make a sulfur trioxide. Then PAN, aldehydes, ketone, and etc. Right? These all are the examples. Okay, the second one, which is the according to the state of matter. There are two types: the gaseous air pollutant and the particulate air pollutant. Right? So the gaseous air pollutant, it means that it is a gaseous state in a normal temperature and the pressure. For example, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, then oxide of the nitrogen, oxide of the sulfur, hydrocarbon, photochemical oxidant, and etc. Okay. Now, the second one, which is the particulate air pollutant. Okay. So this means that this includes the suspended droplet, then solid particles, or their mixtures in the atmosphere. Right. For example, aerosol, dust, smoke, fumes, mist, fog, fly ash, which are the natural particulates such as the pollen green and protozoa, fungal, and volcanic dust. Right? Here the example are given. Now we will discuss the various particulate matter in detail. The first one we discuss the aerosol. Okay, what do you mean by aerosol? So this include all the airborne suspension of the solid or liquid particle, which is the size smaller than 1 mm. Right? It is classified in the aerosols. Now, the second one, which is the dust. So it consists of a small solid particles where the size which is 1 to 200 micrometer, and it is generated by the material like crushing, then grinding, and the plastic operations. Right? Now, the next one, which is the smoke. Okay. So it consists of the fine solid particles where the size which is between 0.1 to 1 micrometer, which is resulting from the incomplete incombustion of the organic particles like coal, wood, tobacco, and other chemical processes, right? Okay, the next one, which is the fumes. Okay, so these are the fine solid particles where the size between 0.1 to 1 micrometer and which is formed by the condensation of the vapor of the solid particles, right? Okay, now the next one, which is the mist. Okay, so it consists of it is a one type of liquid droplet. It is formed by the again condensation of vapor in the atmosphere, or it is released from the industrial operation also, right? Okay. Now the next one, which is the fog. So it is the mist is made up the water droplet whose concentration is very high and it is dense enough to obscure the vision, and the mist is called a fog, right? Almost the fog and mist both are equal. Okay, now the next one, which is the fly ash. This consists of the finely divided non-combustible material or particle which is present in the gaseous arising from the fuel combustion, right? Okay, the last one, which is the soot. What do you mean by soot? So it is an incomplete combustion of carbon containing material which is release a carbon particles. It means a soot. Okay, now the next topic, which is air pollutant, various air pollutant sources and the effect. Okay, so the first one, which is the source, first one we discuss with the carbon monoxide. Okay, so the sources of the carbon monoxide, which is volcanic eruption and natural gas emissions, electric discharge during the cloud forming, then transportation source, the carbon monoxide, the major source, which is the transportation source, which contribute about a 64% carbon monoxide in the air. Then petroleum refining, paper industries, then gas manufacturers, then coal mining. Okay, so these all are the sources of the carbon monoxide. Okay, the effect of the carbon monoxide, the first one, which is the it reduces the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood by selectively combined with the hemoglobin, which forming the carboxyhemoglobin, right? This cause giddiness, then laziness, and the exhaustion, right? The second one, which is it reduces vision and it causes a cardiovascular disorders. Then third one, it is a very dangerous and it is a high level are fatal to the human. Now, the second one, which is the carbon dioxide. The content of the carbon dioxide in the air has increased by approximately 15% during the last century, in spite of the fact that the photosynthesis green plant balance CO2 and O2 ratio in the large extent, right? Okay. Now, the sources of the carbon monoxide, which is the fossil fuel burning and agricultural practices or the deforestation, and the third one, which is the forestry. Okay, now the effect of the carbon dioxide, which is a major effect is on the climate of the earth, which is called a greenhouse gas effect. Then CO2 is less dangerous than the carbon monoxide, and it causes nausea and the headache problem, right? Now the third one, which is the oxides of the nitrogen. The sources of the oxide of nitrogen, which is the fuel combustion in the automobile and the industries, then lightning, then forest fire, then bacterial decomposition of the organic matter. These all are the sources of the oxides of the nitrogen. Now we will discuss with the effect. Okay, the nitric oxide combine with the hemoglobin and reduce the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood, right? Then it is a more toxic than the NO and may affect the lungs and the cause of bronchitis. Then it is a react with the atmospheric moisture to form a nitric acid, and it cause a rain and affect the vegetables and the metals also. Now the fourth one, which is the oxides of the sulfur. The sources of the sulfur, which is the most of the sulfur pollution, like 67% due to the volcanic activities and other natural sources, right? Then burning of the solids and fossil fuel, transportation, then industries like paper manufacturing, then plant, refineries, then sulfuric acid plant, the open burning of refuse and municipal incinerators. Okay, so these all are the sources of the sulfur. Okay, the effect of the sulfur, which is it cause a cardiac disease, asthma, then bronchitis, eye irritation, throat troubles, and etc. Then long-term exposure to a high level of sulfur dioxide gas, it causes a respiratory illness and a heart disease, right? Then oxide of sulfur, it attacks the building material, especially marble and the limestone. Then oxides of sulfur may affect the cloths, then leather, paper, and plants also, right? So these all are the ill effect of the sulfur, oxides of the sulfur. Now the next one, which is the hydrocarbon. So the hydrocarbon, the sources which is coal field, then natural fires, incomplete combustion from the car engines, then industrial sources, then refineries, forest fire, agricultural burning, then coal waste fire, and etc. Okay, now we discuss with the effect. Okay, so some aromatic hydrocarbon, it may cause a cancer, right? Then unburned hydrocarbon with oxides of the nitrogen in the presence of sunlight from a photochemical oxidant like ozone or pan, which are very harmful for us, right? Okay, now the next one, which is the photochemical oxidant. So the main source of the photochemical oxidant, which is the automobile exhaust, right? Now the effect of the photochemical oxidant, which is the photochemical oxidant, it causes irritation of the eyes, then noise and throat headache and etc. Right? Ozone and pan cause a damage to plant by interfering with the plant cell metabolism, especially in the leafy vegetables, right? Then premature fall and yellowing of the leaves are due to this pollutant. Photochemical oxidant also affect the material like rubber, plant, textile, fiber and etc. Okay, the next one, which is the particulate air pollutant. So the source of the particulate air pollutant, which is volcanic eruption, dust storm, fly ash from the combustion of fossil fuel, smoke from the vehicles, mining, agricultural burning and etc. Okay, now effect of this pollutant, which is, it is the first one, which is the health effect. So the particulate less than 10 micrometer can enter the deep into the lungs, and it also get into the bloodstream. It can cause a problem like the irritation, asthma, chronic bronchitis and other lung disease, right? Then particulate accelerate corrosion of the metal, then damage buildings, paints and etc. Then dust coating on leaves affect photosynthesis and reduce the plant growth. Then fly ash reduce the pH balance and potability of the water. So this is the all about the various air pollutants, his sources and the effect, right? I hope you all understood about the today's lecture. Thank you for the watching. Thank you.